hush must mean I'm supposed to start. So I'll start. A very warm welcome to the University of West of England here in Bristol. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Steve West, the Vice-Chancellor, and it's great to see so many people here at what is becoming a tradition of the university with our Bloodhound SSC annual lecture. And it's great to have a lecture like this, so you're all very welcome. And I hope that what we will experience this evening is something that we pick up in our strategy of the university. All Vice-Chancellors promote their strategies, I'm here to promote ours, which is about advancing knowledge, inspiring people and transforming futures. And I can't think of very many examples where we would have something as live, as real as the Bloodhound project to just engage with people around something that is hugely important, and that is science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Bristol and this university has a fantastic tradition and heritage in science and engineering and technology. Just think of the great things that have happened in Bristol, starting obviously way back with people like Brunel, and then bringing us forward with the technology and advancements that we've seen around aerospace and the creation of Concorde, which we hope soon is going to be in a building that will do it justice, fingers crossed. And then, of course, the emerging new technologies that are being developed and designed here in Bristol. So I'm thinking in particular around the Composite Centre. I'm thinking of the work that's going on in Airbus at the moment, the wings and beyond. And of course I'm thinking about emerging new technologies, green technologies that are going to be increasingly important to us. And the silicon technologies, the sensor technologies. This part of the world around the city of Bristol, City Bristol region, has been advancing the use of sensors and the creative way of joining sensor technologies into and mixing them with other technologies to create different opportunities and different futures. And this university, working in partnership with many other organisations, business community of course, but also our sister universities at Bristol and Bath, really pushing the frontier and boundaries forward. And boy, are we going to have to do that. The challenges that we are going to face as a world are going to require us to be hugely innovative and creative. It's going to require us to think very differently, to work very differently. And of course, one of the things that are going to be a major challenge will be around how we're going to support an increasingly ageing population. So the emergence of technologies that are going to support assisted living, sensoring, diagnostics, all of that hugely important. And of course we're working in partnership with health communities and technologists to try and design and develop technologies that are going to support early diagnostics and then early support for that ageing population. And you'll have seen on the news this evening a piece that's being done, filmed here live at the moment, which is about the industry sectors and the economy generally, and how we need to invest a lot more than we're currently investing in order to remain world leading in terms of the innovation that we're creating. So the BBC are here down in the Bristol Robotics Laboratory, which is a joint venture between the University of West of England and Bristol University and industry partners to try and create a facility whereby we can bring different disciplines together, mix them up a little bit, and create new innovation as a result of that. And we're at the moment trying to put together some fairly ambitious bids and work programs that would see, we hope, 20, 30 million maybe, fingers crossed, investment into that centre to create more opportunity for spin-out incubation, but also to bring together more of the work around our sensor technologies, our wet lab work, as well as some of the hard-end engineering, robotics and 3D computer manufacturing, all of which have had a place to play in the design and the development of Bloodhound. But I'm not going to spoil the thunder of that particular lecture. So, welcome to the university. A really great time to come and see us. We're in the middle of huge investment at the university. Over the next 7 years, we'll be pushing around £50 million plus into the university. That will be new facilities, new buildings, and of course the most important ingredient, people, talent, that we are going to nurture and grow and develop, because what we need to be creating are the new generations of scientists and technologists, and inspiring young people to want to come to university, to want to work in science and technology and engineering. And we've got a lot of work to do with the schools to capture the imagination of young people and make sure that they see the opportunities and careers that are going to be available to them in the future. What we can guarantee, of course, is that that future is going to look nothing like where we are today, and we're going to have to think very, very, very creatively to carve out a great life for people with health and wealth as part of that. So, a warm welcome. I hope that you'll enjoy this evening. There are a couple of parts to it. There's lots of interactive stuff for you to do after. You can have a look on iPlayer, the wonders of technology. We've had the live broadcast that some of you will have seen. Eric Thomas, through technology, the Vice-Chancellor, Sir Eric Thomas at Bristol University, just sent me a text saying there was some ugly guy just on 6 o'clock purporting to be you at the university. I wrote back and said it wasn't me, it was a robot. And you'll have an opportunity just to see that bit. But it is showcasing the fantastic work that goes on both within the university and beyond, because Bristol really is a very innovative, creative city region, and what we need to do is to make sure we continue to invest in this city region and grow talent for the future. So thank you very much for coming this evening. There'll be an opportunity for you to network after the lecture and to have some more food and drink. But I'm going to close. Most Vice-Chancellors will be able to spout on for at least 4 hours, but I was told I've got not that long. So I'm going to be quiet now and just invite John Lanham to introduce the first part of this evening's lecture and then take us smoothly through to the next phases. So thank you very much and enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve says, John Lanham. I work in the Faculty of Environment and Technology here. You thought you'd come to hear about Bloodhound. Well, yes, that's part of it. But actually, as Steve was saying, it's about futures and growing. So I want to invite up some students here who are going to tell you about another car that's been developed here in the university and talk about the work that they're doing as part of the Formula Student project, and also to just raise your awareness of this, and if you're interested and if you're from an industry or commercial partner, there may be some opportunities for you to work with the students, engage with the work that they're doing, support them in a number of different ways. So they're going to give a short presentation, then we'll hand over to Mark. So we can just wait for a couple of seconds while the lads come and get themselves sorted. Yep. Okay, and then I'll hand. Okay, away you go.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. My name is Duncan Painter. I'm the team manager with UWE Racing. With me today is Alex, who is the head of our finance, and Ollie, who is our suspension team leader. The plan is for me to quickly go through Formula Student with you guys, in case any of you aren't really aware about the event and what we're actually trying to achieve. Give you a little bit of history about UWE Racing and how we've got to where we are today, and then Alex and Ollie will take you through our current plan, or our current car, I should say. So, Formula Student. I've gone one slide too far. Formula Student is a competition primarily for engineering students. We're quite lucky to have a large spread. I think we've got a few students from law, I think we've got someone from geography. There's a whole spread of us, all trying to create this car that we're trying to build. It's a competition run by the IMechE, and the idea is we are given a prototype, or a task with building a prototype race car to be used in a race series. So we're obviously given a list of specifications and rules that we have to adhere to, and we design and build this car. We also have to present all of our choices and our costing and everything we've done at Silverstone when we go in July, and we are scored on how well we do and our decisions that we've made. Obviously, it has to be cheap, powerful as we can make it, it has to fit to our regulations, and we have to be able to show that it becomes a viable business model to create a race series from. Formula Student is actually a massive international event. There's 176 teams applied to do this year, and 114 teams will be with us at Silverstone. What impressed me most was only 60 of those are from the UK. There's a massive, massive list of other countries. There's some from Egypt, Canada, Australia, thank you. And the list goes on and on and on. Germany, Italy, most of the European countries have teams. Turkey, I think, has a team. Just list and list of places you wouldn't expect, but it makes a really, really interesting environment to be in and to see what everyone else has done. So there's two real main types of entry. There's a Class 1 and a Class 2. The Class 2 team is all theoretical. We design and make a load of CAD models, and we also do our business case and present that, and that's basically what we're scored on. There's a Class 1 where we actually build what we've designed, and we take and race that. The event at Silverstone is broken down into two parts, static and dynamic events. They're pretty self-explanatory. Scrutineering for the static events is obviously pretty important to make sure the car is built to the regulations that we're given, to make sure it's safe, and just to make sure it's a fair competition for everybody. Then obviously we've got our cost design and our business presentations that we're scored on. Now where it becomes interesting for a Class 1 team is we also have our dynamic events, so our skip hand, sprint, acceleration and endurance. We're just scored on how well we place, as you would expect in a normal sort of race series. So, UWE racing history. This was started in 2011. So for the 2012 summer, we entered our first Class 2 team. Done really well. Everyone was very proud of what we achieved. We finished 10th out of 21 teams. We were the highest placed new team, and we were the highest Class 2 team who weren't also entering a Class 1 entry. Obviously some universities have enough time or enough people to submit a second team, so they had one physical car and one theoretical running at the same time. The year after, in 2008, we submitted a Class 2 again and finished 8 out of 25 teams, which is still noteworthy and something we can be really proud of. Our team is split down into 3 main components, design, marketing and business. We have 6 sub-design teams, obviously just for different parts of the car, so suspension, powertrain, bodywork, whatever else comes out of that. So yeah, as you can see from our display out the front, we are currently working on our Class 1 submission, and we are hoping to race this July. Alex and Ollie will now take you through our current plans real quickly.
Okay, here's just a quick overview of some of the designs from previous years. Our first design up in the top left there, and then you can see it progresses to our current design down the bottom. For this year's car, we're designing the tubeless space frame construction chassis. This is the most popular choice at Silverstone among most teams due to its simplicity in design and construction compared to a monocoque design. The chassis is designed to accommodate the 95th percentile man, which all teams must adhere to. It also has regulations regarding cockpit entry and internal cross-sectional regulations. This afternoon we actually finished welding all the suspension mounting points onto our chassis, as you can see outside, and the wishbones were also welded up this afternoon as well. The setup for this year's suspension is a dual wishbone setup with push rod actuated shock absorbers. The shocks are fully adjustable and were custom made for us by Protec just down the road. We're using brake discs all round with wheel calipers front and rear, and a steering rack is an eccentric steering rack made for us by Titan Engineering. We chose this because the internals are interchangeable, so then we can use this on next year's car and hopefully the car for the year after that as well. The powertrain of this year's car is a 600cc Yamaha R6 bike engine that was donated to us. Because this engine is a 99 spec engine, it was as standard, it comes carbureted, but due to the mandatory 20mm restrictor we must run for all cars at the Silverstone event, the peak power band of this engine is really hard to get into. So to combat this, we decided to convert it to fuel injected, and then run a microscrate ECU, which is currently in the process of being wired up with a bespoke loom that we're making in-house. So this is all to try and, so we can get custom fuel maps to try and get into that new power band that's available to us. And the ancillaries in the car are things like the firewall, the fire suppression system, the pedals and the fuel tank. The fuel tank is again a bespoke unit which is currently being manufactured for us by ATL. And I'll now hand you on to Alex Masters, who will run you through the rest of the design and the costing.
The bodywork, as you can see outside, that's not our final design. That's just the first iteration. That was actually in the shop this afternoon, so it's still incredibly rusty and a bit of a rough draft, but that's going forward. Eventually that will be cut into 3 main sections so that we can go and work on bits of the car without having to take the whole lot off. And the side pods, you can see, are going to be an additional 2 bits, but we haven't mocked those up yet. It's all being manufactured in-house. We did look about getting it outsourced, but things like unpredictable lead times and cost meant we just thought we'd go for it ourselves. That has been an absolutely enormous learning curve for people who've done it. Not just with how you glass fibre, but how you glass fibre in a university. So yes, when the Vice-Chancellor talks about potential and learning curves, that was definitely one for the team. That was. Our electronics, the spaghetti you can see on top of the engine, that's not how it's going to be installed into the car. That's also a first draft. That's just because we've finally got all the bits in that we need. Just making sure they can all talk to each other. Because it's been converted to fuel injection, we have to fundamentally change how the electronics of the car behave. Which has been a couple of final year projects for 3rd years and I think a couple of master's students. And we're also going to custom map our own ECU when we get that engine on the dyno in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be a fun job. We're also doing a custom dash and to go with it. So that's going to be delivering what we want, because obviously coming from a motorcycle, there's certain things that you want to change so you can get the most out of it in a racing car, as opposed to being in a motorcycle. And 2 members of our team actually went all the way to a company called DC Electronics in Essex for a day-long course in how to make a Warraboo, which I think was great fun for them, actually. Yeah. No. All right, I've got my scripts in the room. Right, the project planning. Here are some key dates that we've got penciled in, well, hopefully penned in. But the big thing is we want to get the car done as soon as possible. We want to get it done a month before Silverstone, so that the process of running it, getting it off and breaking bits, we do in the ECC car park around some cones, as opposed to at Silverstone where we can't just run it back to the workshop and fix it. There's also a lot of work to do around everything else. There's a lot of stuff that you can see outside, but getting all the bits to talk to each other is the really, really hard part. So after our exams, this becomes our life, which is going to be a lot of fun for 2 months and cost us an absolute fortune in UWE meal deals. The costing, it really breaks down. You can see how little our bodywork is costing. That is because all the labour is just slave labour of students, as opposed to experts. So we're just paying for materials there. There's a lot of unexpected costs. The old adage, before you do anything, something else must be done first, has definitely proved here. So, you buy a bit and you go, all right, well, I've got that, but the bolt you've given me isn't quite long enough, so I need to go and buy another bolt that's a bit longer. Which is always a great fun for me as a financial wizard, having to cost up every little component. And our team sponsorship, we've got sponsors from all over the shop. My favourite being Buckland Brewery. But really from anywhere really. We've just had an amazing night at the Grosvenor Casino in the centre of Bristol. They gave us a couple of £100, so we went and gave them probably a couple of £100. But we're also infinitely thankful to the uni for matching our cost funding, and there's also bits from student wallets and families and all this. It's really been, that's been a challenge, but what we've put into it, we've got out of it tenfold, really. I think that's me, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Where you guys are here for Bloodhound, we've passed along a little bit, so I'll quickly race through all this. So as I said earlier, we're currently working on our first Class 1 submission, which you can see out in the foyer. Our aims this year are literally to design and build and race a running car this year. We'd be really, really proud of ourselves if we could make this sort of dream a reality. And if we could compete and turn or place in the top half, that'd be perfect. That'd be a dream come true for our first year for us. We have actually started work on a second car already, with the aim of entering that in the next year for an all-electric powertrain, which is a completely different challenge for us. So yeah, hopefully in 2015 we'll submit a petrol and an electric Class 2 team. Which really wraps it up for us. We are nearly there for sponsorship-wise, but there is a very, very small deficit of funding that we could do with. If anyone has any interest at all in sponsoring us, please come and talk to us outside. There's a whole range of different packages going from, I can't remember what the bottom price is, but it's like pennies to put your, it's pennies to get your name printed on the side of the car, which we want to do. I think all of us are pretty much going to do it because it would just be nice. You can also get a picture of your face on the car if you'd like to. Always is good. Probably a little bit scary, but a bit of fun. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. Thank you very much.